Alrighty, we are back, thankfully, with a big win against Miami. Florida State Manhandles Miami 45-3 in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium. I was wrong. Well, first of all, let me introduce the show. This is Seminoles Sideline 365 with the instant live reaction post-game show. With me, I'm KB. Alongside me is Bruce, aka the oldest living Florida State fan still around.
Yeah, baby,
the old man. As he would say, the climb continues for another week. 2-game win streak, which is great to see. And I don't even know what I just watched there because that game was so low energy by Miami. It was kind of sad to watch at some points. It actually felt like they were playing an FCS school there for a good majority of that game. It was weird to watch. Certain parts were I actually wasn't as hyped as I normally am because it felt I sort of felt bad at certain points just because those players they have on Miami. I'll go into my point, but. How are you doing? How was I have to say off the bat, I was totally wrong in my prediction of saying it would be a close game. People like B. Riley, as you know, he's coming up here.
I said 10 points. I said 10.
He was right. It was a blowout. So B. Riley, props to you. You were right. I'm glad you were right. I'm glad you were right because I got to get comfortable at halftime a little bit.
Salute to B. Riley
for being right there. So,
but I said 10 points too. B and KB.
Okay, it was 42 points.
Go Noles.
You said 40. Yeah, Dog B with Go Noles. So a great night to be a Seminole fan. But like I said, I did not see that one coming. Jody Pollard with Go Noles. Well, first, let me get your thoughts on everything.
Well, I think in a way you're right. I don't think anybody, except B. Riley. I don't think anybody in the state or in the country thought that this game would be this big of a mismatch in this particular game. And by the way, I have the victory glasses on. And I do have my checkbook for the $500 state championship, round 1 to the Noles. If they get round 2, I got to open up the checkbook.
Yeah,
so my feelings.
What happened to the victory shot? What happened to the victory shot? What's that?
What are you talking about?
The Patron shots.
Yeah, well,
that's
next season.
Yeah.
Listen,
too expensive.
I don't think anybody expected 45-3. This was the largest margin of victory by a road team in this entire series. All right, which is incredible. So in some ways, the game was a little boring.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's hard to say when your team's up, but I like to be up that many points and make it boring and see a bunch of other guys who don't get in the game usually in there. Well, I do.
I don't care about seeing other players, but
I think it's cool. And I love seeing Deuce Spann in there when he got in trouble with Norvell. We can talk about that later. So
yeah, I think my biggest takeaway.
Hey, wait a minute. Let's give B. Riley even a Dagby.
I gave him a
Dagby. No, even a Dagby says, "Way to go, B. Riley." Yeah.
Congrats.
Okay.
I was wrong.
And I like KB taking accountability. That's what Mike
I said I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I wish it was a blowout. B. Riley was light. It was. We demolished them, and I think I learned a couple of things about Miami. I think Miami is where we were in 2020 with Mike. There needs to be Miami is going to have to do a wholesale culture change in that locker room and that talent. They played. It seemed like after the first quarter with no effort, no heart, especially in the rivalry game. They basically imploded on this. They had injuries. The only guy I saw play with any heart was TVD. That guy tried to play through that shoulder injury for them.
He was going to play through
he couldn't give
that.
Anymore. But their defense had played with no intensity. Their offensive, their defensive line, defensive backs, this vaunted defense that was supposed to be good. And to a couple of people's points who said on our show Thursday, hadn't played the greatest competition, so a lot of their stats probably were inflated. which I think we exposed tonight.
I exposed that in the pre-show.
But they didn't play. That's a team that I didn't see play with any heart. And I think we can see that when we go back to 2020, when this was a Willie Taggart locker room with Willie Taggart players. I think this is Miami's in this place we were 2 or 3 years ago, where if Mario Cristobal is going to be successful, he's going to have to churn out that locker room just like Mike has been doing. And that's really what's going to be make or break his career at Miami, because it was not pretty, and that game was over probably in the first quarter. No matter who started that game tonight, if TBD starts that game and he's somewhat healthy, I still think we destroy them, because that defense wasn't going to be able to stop this offense at all. And there was that team quit. Miami quit tonight at home. And if I give Mike credit, he kept trying to score the ball at the end, and he was just trying to run the ball. He ran the ball down their throats, and he cut their heart out.
Yeah, is it they quit, or is it they just got overwhelmed?
Yeah, they quit.
Did they just get overwhelmed?
The talent gap is not that huge between Florida State and Miami, where it should be this bad. The talent gap is not.
I think
they have more composite stars.
I think the organization is better at Florida State than it is Miami. Miami has brought in all these ex-Miami players from the NFL to be in their GM spot and scouting and this and that. I don't know if that shit's going to pay off or not. Now they say they're going to have a pretty good recruiting year, but that shit doesn't show up for 1 or 2 seasons down the road after these recruits come in, So yeah. I just don't think – I think maybe Florida State was tremendously the better team. Now, what does that mean, though? It's not saying much about Miami, because Miami isn't that good a team. So the question is Florida State ready to play UGA, the University of Georgia? Are they ready to play UGA?
Why are we discussing that?
Are they ready to play Tennessee? Are they ready to play Michigan? Are they ready to play? Well, that's what we're trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out how good is this Florida State team.
An example of that is, I think we saw a glimpse of it. Well, and Danny says the culture change. They have Dave Ramsey financial takeover. They can't keep up financially with that's a good point. One. That's a good point, because there's a money issue that no one wants to go to that stadium anyway. And you saw the fans left by halftime.
Terrible.
So that was, they
said it was sold out, but in the beginning they showed sections were closed out in the upper deck. And
they had some recruits there. If I'm a recruit that went to that game and I saw them get blown out, and fans are, I don't know how you would recruit for that program anymore, but that's a whole other story. But one thing, to your point, like you said, we're not at the level of Georgia's and stuff like that, obviously. There's very few programs that are on that level right now. And I think we're being honest with that. Let me finish my point, please.
Go ahead.
Let me finish my point.
Go ahead.
That takes 2, 3, 4, 5 consistent years of 5-star infused talent, high 4-star infused talent. We're way behind that. Our past few recruiting cycles have not been there. But you take a guy like Trey Benson, who was a former high star caliber player. You see a healthy version of him in this program, in this offensive scheme.
He has been unreal.
You saw that tonight.
Yeah.
If he can get this program to look good results-wise, if we can finish the season with a good record and start recruiting guys like Trey Benson all across the field, this program can be dangerous, because you saw it with Trey Benson. You're seeing it this season with Trey. This is a guy that you normally couldn't get to come to this program, but with the injuries and the transfer portal, you were able to get him, and you took a chance on him, and now it's paying off. That's a guy, that's a playmaker. Georgia has multiple of those playmakers. Alabama has multiple of those playmakers. If Florida State starts to get those guys recruited into this now, you get this program. That's how you turn this program around, and we're starting to see that. And that's something that I said before, is that feed Trey the ball. I'm so glad to see that he's getting more and more the ball. He got 15 carries tonight, as opposed to 8 against NC State. The low carry amount. So now it's almost 50-50 between him and Philly. He is your bell cow. He needs to be your number one guy. The guy can break tackles. He can bounce it outside. He always moves the pile forward. He's an NFL guy in my mind. That guy, if anyone's going to be NFL confirmed on this team, it's going to be him. The guy
might have put enough on tape this season to be draftable. Now, because of his past injury on that knee, he looks pretty good. And that's the best result to show. He could go out this year. He could go out and maybe get a 3rd round choice. Okay, potentially. He has really shown up. I totally agree with you. What did he have? $125, something like that?
He had, I have it on
15
the screen.
carries, $125. Yeah, I would say while you're looking that up, he, to me, and I wrote it down in my notes, was so impressive. He was so impressive. And Cristobal, who recruited him, must have said, man, I should have played this guy more.
Well, he had the injuries and stuff.
No, I understand.
But there's a reason why Trey didn't go to Miami either. Like, there was some. It was not an amicable divorce between.
Yeah, we don't need to make a big deal out of that.
I'm just saying that it's there. It's there. There's a reason why he didn't say, I'm going to follow you to Miami, and he went to Florida State. I'm just saying.
You didn't have a good first experience. But Trey Benson is the real deal. I think if he continues the next 3 games or into a bowl game, he may even skip a bowl game if he has a good 3 games. And he could try to jump out thinking, I had a bad injury once. I want to get paid now. Or, as we talked about before, he may go to the NIL pot in FSU and say, I might come back one more year, but I need to get paid. This is how this works now. So
I wouldn't blame him.
Good luck for him because he is an awesome runner. He reminds you of Corbin. Why do you
keep saying Corbin? Tough. He does not remind me anything of Corbin. I think they're two different players in my mind. But that's fine if you think he looks like him.
I think he does. Tough,
I think he's a lot better than Corbin.
Tough inside runner. Doing really well. So very good. Here's the bottom line: Florida State destroyed them. So the question is, who did they destroy? Did they destroy a pretty damn good team or a team that is in transition? Who is struggling and is a dumpster fire? I have to say they destroyed a dumpster fire.
But that's who's the next 3 games on your schedule. But average team.
No.
Very average team.
Wait a minute. Can I finish?
No.
But here's the deal. That's what you're supposed to do to a dumpster fire. You're not supposed to win by a field goal or make it really exciting for us. It should be boring as shit. Yeah. When you get a team that's not doing well, which now looks like Syracuse has lost 3 in a row. They can't really score any points for whatever reason. I don't know if Schrader's out today. Okay, he's out, and it makes a difference. So now you've got Louisiana, winnable and should win. That's
every game on your schedule remains winnable.
Syracuse is now winnable on the road because this team should be rolling, and then you bring in a dangerous Florida team that has a pretty good offense. Now they put up 44. I don't want to.
Texas A&M had 12 starters out. Okay, holy crap, they should score.
That's part of football. So did Miami. That's
what I'm saying. They're not. I wouldn't say they're more dangerous.
You know what I didn't like is the announcers, the TV announcers, were making all these excuses for Miami. They were in love with Miami and what Cristobal is going to do, and he's going to pull the program back, and they've got all these injuries. They weren't really giving a lot of credit to Florida State. They really were not giving a lot of credit to Florida State.
No, they weren't.
So the question is, we still don't really know how good this team is. We really don't know. The ACC now is out of the playoffs. Clemson got clocked, and I said that. I said that earlier this week.
I don't remember saying that. I don't remember.
Well, you go back.
Let's focus on Florida State, though.
Just wait a minute. Clemson is now out. That means the ACC is out of any playoff contention.
That doesn't affect Florida State.
Okay. So the question is, Florida State could win out now. Now the question is, can they win out or should they win?
They should win 2 out of 3.
Well, then you're saying they're going to lose to Florida.
That's going to be the toughest game remaining because I have issues with his mobile. I still think Florida State
and we have them at home. We have them at Doak.
I'm saying I think if they win 2 out of 3, that's still success. If they win out, that's amazing. Okay. If you're 9-3 at the end of the season, I mean, you destroyed my predictions to the beginning of the season. You're in a great position right now, though. Okay, you're in a fantastic position.
Okay, we are. Okay, let's look at some issues of this game. Yeah. Where was Johnny Wilson tonight?
They didn't pass the ball. That and to your point, that's where I have my concerns. But I don't think they didn't have to pass the ball. So, and what I wanted to see is I wanted them to establish the run and stick with it, which they did tonight. They said, Miami, we're going to try to beat you on the line. And they successfully did that. They had a couple of big plays with Ontario Wilson, and they got touchdowns that way, which is kind of what this offense is known for, is the big play offense,
Right.
which sometimes struggle in the red zone. Thankfully, we did clean up some of the red zone. We were able to execute pretty well in the red zone tonight, and Fitzgerald hit his field goals, which is great to see. I think he's got his confidence back.
Kickoffs,
I think he's got his confidence back. But to your point, I still have concerns with the intermediate passing game of Florida State. The 5 to 15 yard chunk, those little chunk plays when it's 2nd and 7.
Yeah,
I do.
Slants,
Exactly. I haven't seen consistency with those. Now, like I said, that's me sort of like trying to find criticism in something we probably
we
shouldn't
are.
be. But that was the only thing.
Clean things up. Yeah.
When we didn't convert tonight, I wish I would have saw some of that shorter passing game that wasn't a screen pass or something like that. But I think Mike called a great game tonight.
I think he called a perfect game tonight.
Especially in the red zone. I loved that the ball to Lundy, that the roll out, and then Jordan keeps it. I love that play. The same thing to the tight end to McDonald. That play. I think they learned from last week. They learned from the weeks before, and they didn't get cute with it. We're not going to do a wildcat running back play.
Right.
And then they banged it home with Trey Benson. So once again, they don't make it look easy, but they found new ways to get the ball across the line, which I was happy with.
Yeah, I think offensively, the offensive line did a really good job once they got into the game.
Yeah.
They had a few jitters in the first couple of snaps, but then we basically in the first quarter we had the ball 7 times according to my notes. We had the ball 7 times. We scored 4 touchdowns out of those 7 times. The interception was a great interception by the Miami defensive back.
He ran around better than the receiver did.
Yeah, the ball was overthrown. And he went and he made a great catch on the ball. So we had 4 touchdowns and a field goal, which Fitz hit right at the end of the first half. So I mean, you go in 31-3 at halftime. Everything was clicking. You come out of the game with 229 net rushing yards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is tremendous. You threw that helped set up some passes. I mean, the game was almost perfect. It was almost the best game of the season for us, I would say. I would say it was maybe the most perfect game.
I would say outside of that, seeing some of those intermediate passes, it was probably the most. Because, you didn't give up a touchdown. You gave up, 188 yards of offense to Miami? Like I said, I don't want to make excuses, but that team without TVD, they should be able to do more than that. But
we would have beat them with TVD.
That's what I'm saying. I believe we would have definitely.
He was not ready to play. They tried to push him in there and see if he could do it. There was no way it was going to happen.
Even if he was healthy, I think we beat them.
But here's where I get on Cristobal. And our defense played great. Our defense really played great.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the goal line stand. I love that goal line stand at the end.
They gave up like one explosive play that didn't end up in a touchdown.
Which was that goal line.
But here's what Cristobal, this alternating quarterback shit that their offensive coordinator supposedly has done wherever the hell he was before. He's the next offensive guru. This is what we hear all the time in the pros and here in college. He's the next guru, like Kenny Dillingham. They're all, so on. He does this 2 quarterback shit. Well, you know what? A lot of quarterbacks won't go there because you're doing that shit. One guy, I don't think it's good for the team. I really don't.
But it also shows that they'll use you, right? So it could be that a way to keep a guy there to say, okay, this is how we're going to utilize you. Not good. The only time you use 2 quarterbacks is when the other guy's ineffective and you put him in. That's when Florida State did one time under Bobby Bowden. We had Jimmy Jordan and Wally Woodham. And when they were both really good, and when one guy was not having a great day, the other guy went and bailed him out. And that's what they would do all season. They were great. Look up their stats. Some of you guys weren't even around when Wally Woodham
and Jimmy
I
Jordan
I
were the
doubt any of our
quarterbacks.
audience are going to look that up tonight. But
Well, I'm just telling you what it was in the past. You can't have the future without knowing the past. Okay, KB? Okay?
Okay, aside from that, I still like the way that they spread out the ball. 11 different players caught a ball
I
tonight,
love
which
that.
is great.
And the backs coming out of the backfield. Toafili picked that ball out of the air. It was unbelievable.
Well, that and Jordan Travis stood in there and took a massive hit to deliver that, which was
Toafili has
well,
great hands, has really good hands.
And that's how I think they should primarily use him in the backfield. I think Trey needs to be the guy. If you're going to run the ball, run it with him. And if you're going to do some stuff out of the backfield, wheel routes, stuff like that, utilize
Trey caught a ball.
No, I'm saying that's how I think Trey needs to get 18 plus carries a game in my mind.
I agree.
I just think because Toafili, he can break a couple of tackles, but Trey always breaks a tackle.
But Toafili had a great game too. He had good yards.
I'm just saying, I think Trey needs to be your number one guy.
Yeah.
And then you use Toafili in some of these other plays out of the backfield to catch the ball primarily because no one can stay with him. It was great to see some, like you said, we got some backups in.
DJ Campbell got back in there. Brian Courtney, freshman tight end from Ashburn, Virginia. He caught a ball, his first catch.
Yeah. So, like you said, it was great to see us go deep. I mean, Johnny Wilson, he made that one great catch on the sidelines, which is awesome. But
he made that was a good catch.
You didn't need the receivers tonight. Terry Wilson's catch was amazing. That set the tone for the game. That set the tone for the game. And
that took the crowd out real quick. The ball was on time. It was perfectly thrown. And Pokey Wilson has made really good catches when he's been targeted this year.
He's a guy.
He's got good hands.
Yeah, it's funny. He's a guy that only like diehard Florida State fans will remember in 10 years, but they'll remember him because he stuck with it. He stuck with the program. He made big plays. The casual fan won't remember him, sadly, but because he's not going to be a receiving leader. He's not going to be in the top 10 of Florida State stats, stuff like that. But he's like one of those guys like Kenny Shaw who did his job and did it well and stuck with the team.
I don't know why. I don't know why Helton didn't even see the field tonight.
I think there's,
but he's still on the team.
Once again, he may just be a good culture guy, and they keep him.
And I give him a salute too for staying with the program.
Yeah, I think there's something there. He just may not be healthy enough. I don't think you should be talking about Dillingham like Dagby says, because Dillingham's having a great season in Oregon. So, but imagine too, do we see Winston Wright next week? That's something we're going to talk about Thursday. But we didn't see Jakai tonight. You didn't really need him tonight. Winston Wright still hasn't come back yet. Maybe we don't see him. Maybe just medical red.
Well, I don't know if he burns a year by coming in next week. 4
games. It's 4 games. 4 games.
Okay, I would not bring Winston Wright back unless, if he's ready to go and it's not going to burn a year, then I'd bring him in, just, try to, but he's not going to, we've got a deep room there. We can't even get some of the other guys onto the field.
I really think that I want to see more of that intermediate passing game. And like I said, like we said, you didn't need to use it tonight, but on those 3rd and 6s, 3rd and 7s, I know we tried to bang it through, bang it down the middle, it worked. It was working tonight. But I think on some of those plays, and like the commenter said, Travis was upset when they didn't execute and they didn't get the first downs, which I love to hear. Even in the blowout, I love it. Seeing that they were. We played all 4 quarters tonight, which I love to see. I love scoring at the end of the game, driving it down, score. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see us giving up even in a blowout. Just keep driving, keep playing. That's how you build a championship mentality. I love seeing that because you broke Miami. You literally broke their spirit early on that game, and that's what you need to do to teams, because that will carry over to every game you play. And I love seeing that. That'll carry over to the backups who are in, stuff like that. I mean, we pulled a lot of our defensive starters, I think, early in the 3rd, and you still didn't give a touchdown. That goal line stand was amazing.
I think those young guys who are on the field defensively up front, you can see where the reps throughout the season have paid off.
Patrick Payton
that guy is going to be a beast.
Some weight. He's going to be a beast.
He's going to be a beast. So there's other young guys up front there, Briggs and the rest of them, I think are really far ahead of their development because they were pushed into the frontier. Yeah. So I think that's going to pay off. So I thought it was damn near a perfect game,
And
all
a clean game.
aspects,
And a
all
clean game.
aspects. Yeah, well,
Only
look
4
at the
penalties.
punting. Look at where they had to start their drives at the
Yes.
2 inside that 5 and 10-yard line,
Yes.
because we had good special teams who, when we punted the ball, our special teams ran down, protected the goal line, and put the ball down. That was great.
No, special teams did their job tonight. You're absolutely right on that. Like you said, put them in really tough situations, putting in freshman quarterbacks in a tough situation. So you definitely didn't make it easy for them.
Where they had to grind it all the way down and not make any mistakes, which with a freshman quarterback, they're going to make some mistakes.
Yeah. So like I mean, there's not a lot to say tonight. Honestly, they played a really outside the intercept, no fumbles, outside the interception, which, looking back, I'm okay with that. What they get back on the 1 yard line, they get it back on the 1 yard line. You're trying to make a play. Didn't happen. That's fine. You'll take those in that game like this. But you dominate on both sides. You didn't give up a touchdown. You didn't break either when the backups came in. They had the seeing goal line stance like that carry over with the backups. And you broke their spirit. You broke Miami's spirit, which I love seeing that. So,
and the other thing is we cleaned up our penalties. We didn't have many penalties.
Only 4 tonight.
Yeah,
yes.
we had a couple, but it really didn't play into the game at all.
And to that point, we didn't get into the back and forth jawing that I think we've seen in the past.
I saw that.
They were very controlled. They were very controlled.
They had been told. They had been told, back away. Back away. Do your playing between the whistles, because Miami was trying to do that. I thought the refs were letting that go on a little too much. The Miami players were pushing back and frustration and stuff like that. And I was happy to see at the end both teams did not engage in a fight of any kind.
But Miami was trying to make it chippy. They were trying to make it chippy. But I was glad that Florida State stuck to the business. What
happened on the deuce span? Did he get out of discipline? And I didn't see what he did.
I didn't see that play.
Okay.
I don't remember that play.
He must have punched some guy because he got a penalty.
What was that? Did I I was behind, so I was like, and the game was blown.
No. I didn't see what he did, but he must have got into a fray with a Miami player. Of course, I don't know what he did. I can't remember what he did.
Does anyone in the chat know what happened with the deuce span?
With deuce span. But he got the last push. He got penalized, and frickin' Norvell went after him because he's been told, don't do that. And so
you don't have a firm position role on this team yet. And for you to do stuff like that.
Yeah, but Coach Norvell, listen, Coach Norvell did the right thing. So he got on him, he made him understand, and then as B. Riley says here, he did an expert job. Because in the next time we had the ball, he put him right back out there on the field and threw him a pass.
Yeah.
That shows the confidence.
Well, yeah, and you don't put a guy in the doghouse and say, and then that breaks his confidence. So it's a good point. It's a good point. That's a good point.
So
agreed.
But I totally agree with you. Those games can get very chippy, and I saw a deliberate effort on Florida State's part not to engage in those extracurriculars.
And I think that is, once again, we can talk about progression of talent, progression of culture, and I think that's some of that too, is playing focused football and sticking to business. This is a business, take care of it, leave, go home, prepare for the next game. And they did, they stuck through it for 4 quarters, took care of business, get on the bus, get on the jet, go back home. You got Syracuse next week. And I think they did everything they needed to do. So I'm very impressed with Florida State tonight. Like I said, I really wish there was more to talk about, but they did everything really, really well tonight. I think my MVP of the game would have to be Trey. The guy, I think every game he seems to get better. I don't know. I think that is because they're giving him the ball more and they're trusting him more with it. And with Trayshawn being out, he's going to get a chance to shine more as well. And I hate that it takes an injury for that to happen. But it just shows you how deep this room is, this running back room is. And don't forget, we got the guy from Penn State too.
And you got Rodney Hill.
He didn't even get to play tonight.
CJ Cam.
And CJ. We have a dearth of talent in that room. It took Trayshawn having to go down for Trey to get more carries.
Well, yeah.
And that'll have to be a whole nother episode we do of what do you do with all these running backs? You're going to lose some of them.
Yeah, you might.
Or they're going to have to go to the NFL or whatever. We'll have that will shake out. But MVP tonight for me is going to have to be Trey Benson.
Well, I agree with you. I agree with you on your pick. I don't know what our audience thinks. Audience, who do you think's the MVP tonight and will be smashing a rock? They probably already showed who smashed a rock, but I think Trey Benson, just what he put on tape tonight was very, very impressive. Here he goes. B. Rice Span got the personal foul, and he didn't take Norvell's criticism well. But what did he do on the personal foul, B. Riley? What did he do? I saw the part.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You'll see on Twitter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He got caught with the last punch or whatever the hell it was. But Norvell did the right thing, and I thought it was a great coaching management, and that's Norvell's style. Yeah. Get the kid back in the game, get the ball to the kid, and let's play. It's over with.
Show him you're not putting him in the dog.
It's over with. Yeah. Now the question is, if the game wasn't 30-something to 3 when it happens, if it was 10-9, then it's a little bit more serious. But you know what? You got to play the same way. You always tell the kids, I don't care if you're up by 40 points. Now this quarter is 0-0. Who's going to win this quarter? Even if you're up by 40, who's going to win this quarter?
Yeah.
You to be a good football team, you don't want to lose any time, any place. Well, and you want to win every quarter.
And I think that's the only criticism you could maybe take away from this game is you didn't score in the third quarter and you had opportunities to. So
wait a minute, is that Benson? Is that Benson's breaking the rock?
Yeah, Benson broke the rock.
Well, he deserves it. He's had a hell of a long rehab. He's come a long way, and he is showing people that he can play.
Yeah,
that he can play. He's a built dude, man. He's pretty well chiseled out. Yeah. So the question is, I'm starting. We've got at least 4 more games. Hey, by the way, bowl eligible, baby. Bowl eligible.
But we want more than that. We want more than that.
No, I know that. I know that. Going. That's nothing. That's not what this is about.
Yeah, keep going.
This is about finishing strong as we move towards the next seasons. You're building a wall here, and so on. And nothing else. Norvell did have to win one of these 2 games in the state championship. He had to at least split, and he got one. I think probably the easier one. But if he can get the next one, well, the checkbook comes out. As I said, the checkbook comes out. You can see right on there, Wells Fargo, baby, Wells Fargo. The $500 charity challenge if we win the state championship and so on. Oh, go ahead and play this.
Yeah, let me play this real quick so everyone can see.
Fans haven't seen this yet.
Yeah, y'all haven't seen this yet. Let me pull it up here. All right.
But yeah, it was a perfect game.
All right, let's play this real quick.
You get it? I love this. Watch.
He's got the cigar. Oh. He's got a cigar in his mouth.
Love this. Yeah.
That's so great.
I don't know what the hell that does to the opponent's locker room floor.
Let them figure that out. That's great.
But you know what? Anytime you can slap down Miami hard, you love it. You love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. We're going to enjoy this victory. This team is coming together really, really well, and they showed it tonight. Showed it tonight. I don't know what else to say. No. I don't want to belabor this point. The line makes a difference, but never gets the credit. That's true. The game of football is played in the trenches on both sides.
And B. Riley said the same thing, that O-line was his MVP, combined MVP, and they had a couple bad plays when Scott was out, but I think, and we still turn time was out tonight, I think, and I think the O-line played against what was what's supposed to be a decent Miami line comparatively, what their stats would say, and I think they played especially on the counter. The counter play worked, and I think the counter plays worked a lot for this team. But we can go into that next week. But I think we wrap it up here. I think I'm happy. I'm content with very content with how we played, and it's a good momentum to go into the Syracuse game on the road. You didn't have to show a lot to Syracuse. You could just run. You just were able to run the ball. You didn't have to do a bunch of trick plays and crap like that. So your playbook next week is wide open. but they're going to have to respect your running. They're going to have to respect your running next week, which is great to show. So, yeah.
I thought there was a shout out from a Georgia fan coming in. Was that not true? They had sent us. No,
you tell me.
No, I don't know. I don't do the technical piece. Maybe not. Maybe not. Did you send out? I thought there was. So some Georgia fan wanted to say something.
I don't know what you're.
Well, let's wrap it up with this. It's been a very interesting weekend of college football. This is a great feeling back in Tallahassee. This is a great feeling for this team. To win the state championship or to beat a Miami and to beat a Florida is special. It's special. And it's great for the recruiting in the South Florida area now, too, as well. You may flip a couple guys. I don't know why some of these guys think it's so special to go down there because, like you say, with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the stadium was empty of Miami fans. Is that what you, and that's why we got on Florida State that time. You've got to stay. Yeah. This is your team. Yeah. This is who you support. And those Miami fans just bail the hell out of there.
Yeah, I don't know how they're recruiting, so well or recruiting that right now, but this is something that's going to help you through recruiting day. This result and showing these are results. These are actual results that we can show you. Whether it's a powerful passing game, powerful running, like this is an offense you want to be inside, as well as the defense too. Like you come in here, you can make a difference. You go to Miami. Not guaranteed, but our staff can put you in a place to succeed. And what was Mike's whole pitch? An offense built for playmakers.
Yeah.
And that's coming to fruition now. You have multiple playmakers, especially on the offense, that are coming around now. And so if you're an offensive recruit, I got to say, like this, that pitch actually is starting to ring true because you have results. You have stats to back it up. That, you sort of used to make fun of the 200 yards rushing per game, but you're doing it against ACC teams now. So,
well, the time of possession and total offensive yards are important. But as you said one time, those are vanity plays. You got to put points on the board, and they put the points on the board, and that's it. You don't win the game by time of possession. You don't win the game by rushing yards unless you have points on the board. They're doing all of that now. So there's no reason in these last 4 games that they can't win. 3 games. They can't win these 3 games. Yeah, this team is peaking at the right time.
They're healthy and peaking at the right time.
And now they can get on the road, go up to that dome and play football, all business, and slap down this Syracuse team. They've lost 3 in a row. And there's no reason.
Absolutely. No reason. Dagby says Miami Stadium is the new empty nest.
That's true.
I like that. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. Once again, finals 45-3. Florida State manhandles Miami on the road. A result you love to see. One of the biggest point differentials, I think, on the biggest point differential for a road team in this rivalry series. Join us next week as we break down the Syracuse matchup. Maybe we'll have a special guest who can give us some insight into the Syracuse matchup. But while you're here, if you could like the video, subscribe, we really appreciate us. We would really appreciate it. That means a lot to us. But thanks again for joining us. Enjoy your night. Celebrate safely. And we will see you next Thursday for our Syracuse preview show. Thanks again, y'all.
Go Noles.
Enjoy the victory. Stay safe.
Go Noles.